when it actually streams online, there's about a 30-second delay online. So commercials.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait for that a little bit. Oh, there we go. We got Andy coming. However, I'm saving this video anyway, so it doesn't matter. We're not going to have commercials. Okay. Alrighty, this is Joe, N2QOJ, back at Radio in the Park, October 10th, 2015. And we're going to, first stop here is going to be Jay. And Jay's going to introduce himself and then tell us a little bit about his setup here. Jay, name, call sign.
Hey Joe, Jay, N1RWI. My station is a enhanced QRP station. It's an 817. It started running just a couple of watts. I was getting for some pretty low signal report, so I added the Tokyo high power, now discontinued amp. So I've gone from a couple of watts up to about 30 or 40. Whole thing is powered by a LifePo, that LIFPO4 10 amp hour, 12 volt battery. It's the replacement to the SLA batteries, and that is being charged by 50 watts of solar, one 30 watt panel and two 10 watt panels. And these are the lightweight military grade style panels that I use for hiking and soda. And then that's feeding to a buddy stick. So if you're familiar with the buddy pole, which is what Dennis is using for 40 meters, just pretend it's half of that antenna. So it's a buddy stick with one coil, and I've got the coil tapped to 17 meters.
How's it mounted, Jay?
I just have it mounted on this very simple camera tripod mount. This is a $6 big box store that starts with a W tripod that collapses down so I can put it all into my backpack.
Okay.
The whole station, amp, radio, solar panels, battery, all fits in this. So when I go up hiking and whatnot, I just grab this pack and it's all ready to go, and I've got HF and VHF ready to rock.
Oh, okay. Tell us a little bit more about the antenna setup here. I see you've got a ground radial or short counterpoise. What is
the counterpoise? That's the mount that comes with the buddy stick, and it comes with 33. One of the first things anyone has these will do is they'll go out and use their MFJ antenna analyzer and measure out for each band the rough cut of where it should be. So I have it measured for the bands I operate on, 10, 17, 20, and 40. And to get it to the right length, you just either wind in or wind out. And then they recommend that you have it 2 to 3 feet off the ground, which is why I have it suspended off the tree.
Okay.
But pretty simple. When I'm hiking, I use my hiking stick and jam it in the ground, just laid over the top of that.
Okay, very good. Tell us a little bit about these solar panels. You mentioned something earlier to me off camera about the history of a couple of these.
Well, these two, I originally had a couple of 10 watt panels that were the SolarX, they call it the Flex panel. So they're a little bit more, they don't have the thick frame like most panels do. They're thinner. And I used those, but they were still really bulky in that they were a panel. You had to keep them in that size.
Right.
So I started researching alternatives and came across this power film. And power film is a huge emergency management. A lot of guys in the military use it. And I was searching through a couple of shooting forums of all things, talking about solar. And one of this guy mentioned that he had a couple that were actually in Afghanistan with him that he had brought back. And he gave me a pretty good deal because you can see some of the actual crystal or whatever the structure is of the panel has come off from use. And I haven't noticed a big degradation between the two, even with that. But what I like about these is they completely fold right up. So you're talking something that big that you can throw in your backpack, and there's 10 watts of power.
Right.
So for 50 watts between the two, the 50 watts between the three panels, I can fit it all into one small bundle. It weighs about a pound and a half, and I can just throw it in the bag and go.
Right. And I would assume for somebody hiking who's not radio oriented, but it just wants to do some basic charging
Yeah,
of
charge a cell phone
phone or
or
some.
a tablet or whatever. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. One or two is all you would need.
Yep.
What's the cost that one would expect to incur with that?
These I've found online. They're usually brand new. The 10-watt panels are they're much more expensive than a traditional 10-watt panel. I've seen the 10 watts for around 120, so you're up
Hmm.
around 10 to 11 cents a watt. The 30 watt, I think this was about 260 for the 30-watt panel.
I see.
And yeah, you go online, you can get a 100-watt fixed panel for that price, absolutely. But I'm not carrying a 100-watt panel on my back up a
Right.
mountain.
No, that's cost to function. Objective is
Yeah.
is key.